Welcome to this introduction of Centralpoint. You likely have never used this product before or are experimenting with a demo site that we've provided you. And this video is to kind of narrate how to manage it. And of course, we're not going to cover everything in this video. We're going to cover the basics. Basically, what we're looking at here is a website. This is our sample site for the video, probably very similar to the one you've been given. And I just want to explain kind of the real estate here. We have the top of the site, the body of the site, what we call the home page, and then we have the bottom footer of the site with all these different links. So the number one most important thing on your site is navigation. Navigation is how people navigate your site and find the various options that are available to them. So as we look at these various pages here, we see all these different links under navigation. Now, we have a couple different types of navigation. We might have something like this, which is just a regular web page. This is kind of a fancy web page that shows accordions. We might have, here's a very simple page, it's called page 1, DITA, just an example with some images on it. Simple navigation page. Now, there are other types of navigation. What are those? Well, we might be linking to a module. And we use the term modules a lot here at Centralpoint. I'd like to explain what those are. A module is a collection of records. So it's not one page, like a navigation page. It might be a collection, like all of the news articles, as we see here. So a module is different than a navigation page because there's a whole collection of different records there. And that needs to be dealt with a little differently because people are sifting through and looking for all of the different news items or all of the different event items, that sort of thing. So let's just focus right now on the navigation page and how to manage the navigation page. So if you log into the client console, and that would be whatever your web address is, /console, C-O-N-S-O-L-E, you will log into an interface that looks like this. And when you first log in, you're going to see all of these different categories on the left. And these different groupings of tools, normally we have them all turned on. We have them all turned on in a demo scenario. Sometimes we have them all turned on when we initially deliver it to you. And we can turn a lot of these features off just to simplify your experience. But we're not going to get into all these things right now. Right now we're just going to go to this module grouping called Site Architecture. And under Site Architecture we have navigation. So here we see some of those primary navigations we saw earlier. Contact Us, Examples, Modules, Sitemap. These are these About Us, Modules, Sitemap. These are kind of first tier navigation. You'll see underneath of them we have children. So that means that under the grouping called Examples, we have all of these other web pages, like the one we saw just a moment ago called DITA Page 1. Strange title, but there it is. That DITA Page 1 is available for everyone to see, and it lives under that section known as Examples. So let's create a brand new page, and what we're going to do is we're going to call this Brand New Page. We will also place it under the Example section. Here is my brand new page. And perhaps I want to format the text, so I might make this a little bit larger. I might want to color this or format this. So basically, if you know how to use Word, you already know how to use the formatting features here. And I'm now going to upload an image. So I've just clicked on this little image right here, this little icon, looks like a little photograph, to add an image. And these are images that have previously been uploaded, but I want to show you, if this is the very first time, how do you reach out to your desktop and grab some image and upload that into the system. So just that simple. Here's the image of someone holding a plant. That image is called 2927642. And I'm going to insert that into my page. So here's my brand new page with the image under it. And of course, there's a lot of great features here in the RTF editor. Spell check. So if I run a spell check, no mistakes were found. I can search and replace things. I can upload images, videos, all sorts of things. But right now, formatting text and uploading an image. Now, when we uploaded that image, what's nice about that is we can reuse that in the future. For example, I don't have to upload that again should I need to use it. If I ever needed that image again, I'll just click on it and say insert that. So see, we have the same image. So we have two of the same images on the page here. This page is going to be tagged by default to everyone. Everyone's going to get to see it. And we've submitted our new page. Just that simple. If we now look at the section known as examples, we have our brand new page. Brand new page will bring us up. Here is my brand new page. And here are the two images we've uploaded. Now, this page, you'll notice, automatically has social media integration. I could email this page to a friend. I might print this page out to see the printer-friendly version of the page. Here's my printer-friendly version of my new page. So all of these things are built into Centralpoint to allow people who have, vision problems or printer, they want to print it out or things like that, already built in. These things, how did these things get on your page? Those things are part of the module designer or the template. So whenever we have pages we're managing, even navigation pages, news pages, event pages, we have a style sheet. And the reason we have these style sheets built in is so you don't have to put this stuff in page after page. Every page you add will automatically have that. So we've just added a new navigation page. I want to explain what happened there. This sitemap, all of the pages that Google will see, on your site, these pages will be found. Look at this. Right here under examples, we have brand new page. So even the sitemap has been updated automatically. If I wanted to search for brand, hopefully I don't, oh, there it is, brand new page. Looks like I have other things that deal with brand names like Dr. Pepper, but brand new page comes up in our search results. So by adding a singular record to Centralpoint, it becomes part of that ecosystem. And now what I want to look at is how to further refine the roles of the content we're managing. For example, if we go back to our brand new page, which is found under examples, here's my brand new page. Now let's say that page wasn't really intended for the public view. I might say that's not a page for everyone. That's only for a private member of the portal who logs in. So I've just tagged it from public view to private view. By doing that, this page is no longer available in the navigation. We do not see brand new page, nor is it available in the sitemap. Now it might be to anyone who might log in, and in this example we have a separate design or separate audience as we call it. Let me just see if it shows up for them, and I'm going to log in as that user. I'm going to take a look at my example pages, and here we have brand new page. So brand new page in this case was only available for a certain type of user who logs into a certain type of site, namely this employee portal. So that helps to segue into what I'm about to talk about, which is audiences. Centralpoint is not just a website that contains a bunch of navigation pages. Centralpoint is a family of different sites. For example, I just logged in earlier and I landed on the intranet as a private member. Okay, how did I do that? Well, that user is recognized as a member in the site, and when that user logs in, they are returned to that special place. We can also do that through Active Directory. So we can do a lot of that automatically through your network security. We might need to integrate with your CRM system. So we have a tool that talks to your back office systems for larger enterprises like intranets, extranets, that sort of thing, so that we can automatically route the right people to the right place. And that's why you have all these controls. If you're wondering, well, hey, this looks confusing, why do I have all these options here? These options are a very good thing, because later as your organization grows, you may need to tag these things to very specific groups, very specific types of people within those groups. Sometimes you might need to review this page. So you don't want this page to be seen on the site yet. You're reviewing it. You're just kind of still working on the copy. So I've put this record on hold. And by putting it on hold is the same thing as kind of tagging it so that the public can't see it, because by putting it on hold, we do not see the brand new page under examples. Again, just to release that page, from hold to release, it now makes it available to those audiences. So again, brand new pages come back. So this information is very important to manage your content. Another side note on that is that sometimes we'll have you'll ask, well, why do I have a start date? Why do I have an end date? Well, for example, today is September 23rd. If I don't want this page to appear until September 25th, again, I'm going to submit the page. And now, when I refresh the page, there is no brand new page. Now, when will that page show up? On September 25th. It will automatically show up. Again, the benefit for that is some of these pages pertain to only certain time periods. Maybe you want a page to only appear for a period of time. And that's why these are very, very important, because we can now set the release date for when it goes live to the site. We can set the date for when it comes off of the site. Now, we'll set these up dynamically for you so that you don't have to set that up every time. All you have to do is put in your title and tag it, and off it goes. Another thing I want to feature is why we have a couple different file upload buttons. This one, as we saw just a moment ago, we uploaded images, and here they are, and I can reuse them. You might be thinking, oh, well, that's nice. It's a reusable library, which it is. But we have two different flavors of that. We have one that's more like a digital asset management tool, and this is very important because if I were to have uploaded that image here and said, look, this is my image, 2927642, whatever it is, again, same image upload in that scenario. Now I have 3 images on the page. But the reason that's kind of a neat way of doing it is because what happened there is that that image ended up in what's called the Media Manager. And the Media Manager allowed us to now make that a reusable object and something that we can call upon in the future. And the reason that's important is because rather than just uploading an image here and an image there, we want to reference everything as a source of truth. Meaning, if you reference that source image and you upload it as a media resource, the preferred way, well, you can go create hundreds of web pages in the next 6 months or so. Now, if you ever want to update that one image, you update it at the source, and all pages will automatically be updated. So this is an important module here under Design called Media Manager. Just thought I'd bring it up. And again, just to recap, navigation is very important. To the right of each navigation item, you see the children. Some of those navigation items might have children, so navigation can be n-tiered in its structure. Of course, because we can see multiple navigations for multiple channels, if it's a larger enterprise, you may need to filter and say, show me only my intranet navigation or only my whatever whatever other types of navigation you need to see. Additionally, you may need to see things like previews. If you want to see that record without having to go back to the site, you can see that here. If I wanted to see that record in a different view, like this view here, it's actually the same record. It appears the same way. So every record we're managing within Centralpoint has the ability to be previewed so that we can now see what that page looks like on the front end of the site. Okay. Now, let's get into modules, because most of your content is found in modules. The section in your client console called Content organizes all of your data. Now, you'll notice we have these modules called Generic, A, B, C, D, E. If you're seeing those, that's because we haven't renamed your modules yet. These modules will be renamed around your content types. Some that you can recognize, for an example, is the module known as News. Now, or Events, or Staff Directory, or things of this nature. So our job with Centralpoint is to organize all of your content very much like California Closets would do for your home. Our job is to organize all of these different types of content within their own modules so that it's organized, because you might have thousands of news articles, thousands of products, this could be a lot of information here. So, but now you can add things manually to these modules just like you can a navigation page. My sample news article, and I'm just going to put in sample content here. And I'm going to tag this, as I did before, to everyone so that everybody can see it. So basically on the front end of the site, instead of looking at our navigation page, if we go to the news module, you'll see the very first thing I've posted here is my sample article. That's very important because sometimes we need to group this content by virtue of the module it belongs to. To take that to kind of another level, I'm looking at this collection of modules. Again, it's just another container, just for demo purposes, has a lot more search features. And I'm going to search the records in this site right now. So we have Oxcyon test. You'll see we have an option here to add this to the shopping cart, so we can actually sell products online. Oxcyon test 6, various records. Now, this example record here in generic enhanced A is called Oxcyon test 6. And you'll notice that it automatically relates to all of these other things. And this might be a little bit of a mystery to you. How do these things know that they relate to this record? For example, sample event heart. How do we know that that heart event relates to this Oxcyon test number 6? Well, let's go in the back and take a look. If we go to generic enhanced A and we go to Oxcyon test 6, which is the page we just saw with a picture of the bear right there. This page is tagged to a certain taxonomy. It is tagged to test 1, it is tagged to heart, it is tagged to cancer, it is tagged to breast cancer. And you'll notice that on the front end of the site it says we have a sample event here that relates to heart. Okay? So if this record were not tagged to heart, let's see what happens. We'll untag that as well. So I've just removed certain taxonomy from this record. I've resubmitted it to the site, no damage. And here, notice all these relationships over here, sample event heart. I'm going to reload this page. So you'll notice that we no longer relate to the event known as the heart event or any of these other things. These are called crosswalks, and this is what makes Centralpoint a knowledge management system. Again, not just managing web pages in a site, we're managing an ecosystem of information which may relate to one another. This is very important. Taxonomy is kind of like the taxonomy of the classification of all things within your organization. Now, these are some really abstract examples we have for our demo purposes. But again, I'm going to tag this heart. I'm going to add this record that relates to heart. And you'll see the related heart event comes back, or should. And here we have our sample event related to heart. Now, if I were to add another record over here in events, sample event 2, I'll just put in heart so we can recognize it when we see it. And again, if I tag this record to the taxonomy known as heart, these records will dynamically appear. And now when I refresh the page, I see 2 heart events. It's related to this event and that event. So we're building a knowledge base, and this is very, very important because this is that would be a difficult thing to manage if you were hard coding or hand coding your website. Because as one thing changes, well, it kind of changes everything else. It's a big ecosystem of information. Again, back to that example, if I were to go to the record I just created, which, by the way, if I wanted to sort, you see these event dates or start dates. This is by clicking on this arrow, I can sort the most recently posted record. So the one that I just posted was right there at 5:25 p.m. And I'm going to say that this particular record is only for people in the intranet and people who are privately logged in. So that one event doesn't pertain to the general population. That's for employees or whatnot. So watch sample event 2 right there. We'll reload the page. And that record's going to go away. Now, that means that that event will relate to people who log into the intranet, but will not relate to people who log in here. So taxonomy is definitely worth talking about, and that's why I'm on the topic right now of taxonomy, because, again, as you're managing content, you're like, why do I need this classification thing? Well, this classification thing is good. We will definitely build out a taxonomy, for your organization. If you're curious where taxonomy is managed, it is also managed within site architecture, so that you can see all of the taxonomy available for generic enhanced A, to include the various types of things like we have right here, breast cancer, lung cancer, It also relates to universal taxonomy, another taxonomy list that's available, where we see we have the type heart. Now, just to give you an example here, I'm going to say that this relates to pediatrics. So I'm creating a new taxonomy type, a new label which might bind things together. This means that if I go to my events and I tag this particular event to, let's say, pediatrics, and I also tag my generic A record to relate to not just heart but pediatrics. Again, we've just created a new bind, and we should have a new event here that shows up. I forget the title of it, but we will see something else that shows up. Somewhere, yeah, right there, sample of a recurrent event. That was the one tagged pediatric. I'll just add another one just so you can see that come to life one more time. Forgive me. I'm going to say that the event known as Oberlin is also tagged to pediatrics. And I want to refresh that. And we also have Oberlin. So again, this is pretty complex stuff because we're dealing with cross-references of all sorts of different information based on how you tag it and how you enter it. The rules over this, if you're curious how all this works and where are all these set up, the entire look and feel of these modules and those crosswalks and everything that goes with them is found here. So for example, we were just searching generic enhanced A, and within that module we have a way to search for records, a way to see the results of those records, and then a way to view the details of that record. This is where all that magic happens, if you're curious. Again, not for the faint of heart. Okay, another thing I want to talk about is design. So besides creating this navigation structure, and by the way, real quick, this navigation in this site is 100% responsive. This means that as this site shrinks, it's already ready to go for mobile devices. And the reason I kind of set that up is because we're now going to take a look at design styles. So if we go into the console, and again, you don't need to even mess with this at all. I just thought if you're curious, you know, Centralpoint introduction, here's where we satisfy that curiosity. Under design, we're going to go to styles. So basically, earlier I logged in to the intranet. The intranet had its own style. It had its own logo. It had, you know, it said employee portal. It had certain colors, certain images that lent themselves to that page. And then, of course, our main site also has its own look and feel. So I want to talk about this. All right, when you open up the styles record, you're going to see this page of, if you're not a developer, it looks like Mandarin Chinese. This is CSS, cascading style sheets. Now, you have to use CSS in the modern web, and I'm talking 2015 plus, to serve mobile devices, have a responsive experience for users. So you almost need an expert to write this type of stuff. Now, you can write your own CSS. We deliver the site to you with CSS, so you don't have to. But I just want to talk about how we've taken it to that next level. This CSS depends on these type of features here. So for example, if I wanted to change the navigation color of this site, instead of using this color here, I might use this color here. So I'm going to give it a hot pink navigation and hot pink and hot pink. So these are all colors that control that CSS that you just saw. For every button in the site, I'm actually going to say I want every button on the site to be orange. And when you mouse over the orange button, it'll be blue. So these are tools for ordinary people to actually update the CSS. So basically what's happening is this beautiful CSS that's written is calling to those fields so that as you change them, it's changing the CSS and you don't have to know anything, which is really neat. Now, I wouldn't recommend that you need to do that. Your analyst, your production manager will do that for you. I've just changed this site to a hot pink navigation and with orange buttons, and every orange button I mouse over is blue. Not just on the home page, even our modules. If I go to a module, orange button, blue mouse over. So it's really easy to change these types of things so that we're not ruining the code that creates them. So we can very easily reuse this style for an example for another audience, but maybe change the colors. Here we're going to go back and just put our colors back, just so you can see that it's goes both ways. You can just very easily put it right back where it was. And I'm just going to put these all back to this color. Again, a little repetitive, but just want to show you how this whole thing works. I think it helps to get a little experience there. Okay, and I'm going to save that. So normally CSS in site design is a big mystery. It certainly is if you have a vendor that's coding it from scratch. I've just changed it to a blue navigation. We are back to blue buttons with a slightly different blue mouse over effect. Just that simple, very easy to do. And by the way, everything that serves that design, the background image, at the top of the page, the little mobile icon, the images that we see in the footer of the page. So it's literally every single element of this design can be maintained, can be managed very easily within Centralpoint, and that way we can reuse that design. By the way, if we wanted to create a site underneath of this portal, a child site, a microsite, we even have a site wizard that does that. And styles become very important there, because as we're going through the wizard, we'll say, well, okay, for this new site, which design do you want to use? Well, I might want to use the main site or this other crazy site we created, this design. So design's important. Again, I don't think that you'd be jumping into it too deeply initially. We can assist you with any of the stuff that you need help with, but it is nice to kind of understand how this whole thing comes together. So just a quick recap. We have audiences. We just dealt with the main audience, and you got a little peek at the intranet. We also dealt with navigation and how we can tag records, whether they be live on the site, when do we want them released, who do we want to see them. So it's only available for certain types of audiences. We can also arrange the order of those pages within those navigations. Again, as we add navigation, it dynamically builds our sitemaps. We don't have to worry about that. And we covered design. We also touched on modules, generally what they are, how they can relate to one another. They don't have to, by the way. We could just have news, searching for events. That fancy business of showing related news against events. That's knowledge management. You don't need to go there. We just like to show off what it can do. And I think that that's a good beginning to the Centralpoint platform. We also just touched on the module designers. Where do our analysts go to change and alter that layout? And again, the wisdom of doing it this way is that rather than having to manage each page and the style of each page as you enter them in one by one, the module designer acts as a template, so that all you need to worry about is adding your new page, and it will pass through that template. And that's really what Centralpoint is centrally managing all these styles, all these controls, so you don't have to worry about it, and you can reuse that code. So if you have any questions, please contact your analyst or your production manager. We appreciate your time. We hope this was helpful. Oh, another point. Anywhere we happen to be within this console, if you have some questions, for example, forms. Forms is kind of a big deal. You might want to click on this help file. And what I just did there was I just clicked on the small right-hand upper corner there. You'll see a little question mark. And these are intelligent. So wherever you happen to be, it'll know to serve you information about forms, what it is, what are your options, what you can do, all kinds of neat tips and helps for developers who want to create, advanced forms. I might be in the design section in my styles module, as we were earlier. Click on my little helper there. It'll give us a little tutorial of what design is, how it comes together, what's available. So wherever you are within the console, if you want to go a little bit deeper dive into that type of a feature, you just click on that, get your help file, see what's available, and that way I think. And by the way, in summary, it'd be a good idea, if you're going to be working in this platform, it would be a good idea to peruse our module gallery on the Oxcyon website. Read a little bit about what these modules do. I think some of them are pretty self-explanatory, and as you just kind of click through the tool here, you'll be able to figure out what these are. Error messages. What is an error message? Well, it's a particular message somebody is going to get if there's a problem. Well, Clearly, this is for administrators, and why we put it under administration. Global login, searching all modules, replacing search and replace features, change attributes, probably things you might not want to monkey around with. Advertising, how can we manage certain things like pizza, for an example. If somebody searches the word pizza, we will get this feature right here. Just to show you how that works, I'm going to search the word test. Don't get the message. I'm going to search the word pizza, and I do get the message. So it's kind of neat. You have now control over certain conditions that occur based on your users, and specifically who sees what when based on what happens. So as you go through here, broadcast, this is the email broadcasting piece of Centralpoint. This sends out targeted messages to various people. So it's able to skim data from Centralpoint that's collecting, deliver alerts to people. All the comments, all, of course, the content modules, data transfer. These are utilities that likely your developers and or IT team will use, but it's tools to ingest content. If we want to suck in a lot of information, Excel spreadsheets, other databases, we can do that using this tool. It's doing it right now. So data transfer is, kind of a industrial strength tool. And some of these you can just block out. If you're just managing content, you can say, look, you can either ask your Oxcyon representative to say, could you turn off data transfer for me? I just don't want to see it. Fine, we'll turn it off. All of these can be turned off. A lot of these design tools you might not want to see. So I think, number one, just to step through this and figure out which of these tools you might want to have access to, which ones you don't even want to see. Just get them out of your face. Just turn them off. That will make for a better experience with the product, and we encourage you to reach out to us so we can tailor your view of Centralpoint. But for the demonstration purposes, we have to turn everything on so that we can explain, generally what everything is. So we appreciate your time, and thank you very much.